We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show. I am your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff, bringing to you episode 383. With us, as always, is the OG undisputed scholar himself, the one and only Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how's your evening going, sir?
My evening is going. For some reason, I couldn't get into this with my laptop, so now I have to use my cell phone. So the quality is probably not as well as I normally sound or look.
You still look beautiful.
But other than that, I'm doing very well. It's been a very interesting week, to say the least.
Yes, and apparently the entire week extended to our myriad of recording issues. So, as Tarek said, please excuse the audio. But on the bright side, it did delay us just enough to see some really momentous announcements from AEW. And we'll get to that in a minute in a little segment we like to call Backstage News.
Indeed, we shall go ahead and peek behind that curtain once again and just realize, holy shit, there is a lot of stuff to go around in this segment of Backstage News.
News. As flawless as it's gonna get, meh.
Hey man, we've had plenty of episodes where Brian had to go off on assignment. We're getting better at this.
We'll get there. Hey, better late than never, as the man says.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
Love you, Cheech Marin.
Absolutely. But elsewhere in the world of wrestling, we are just coming hot off the heels of a very, very exciting Double or Nothing pay-per-view from AEW, but not without some major news bits. But before we get to that, I highly enjoyed this pay-per-view. What are some highlights, and do you want to give us an overall beard rating for AEW Double or Nothing 2022?
Well, I think the big highlight, of course, is CM Punk winning the AEW World Championship. That was a big highlight for me. As much as I love Hangman Adam Page, I'm very happy to see CM Punk win the title. And it's funny. I was looking back on our prediction show last week, and I remember specifically us doing the predictions for Jericho Appreciation Society and Blackpool Combat Club, and I just remember specifically talking with Brian about how he thinks there wasn't going to be any dissension within the ranks of Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson, and I just was like, well, I could see Bryan Danielson being the honorable one and Eddie Kingston being a whiny bitch. And yeah, wouldn't you look at that? Eddie Kingston is the one that causes them to lose because, pouring gasoline on Jericho and Bryan Danielson in an attempted murder is quite a big whiny bitch moment for Eddie Kingston. It's like, he did say he was going to kill him. So it's nice to see he's actually, bringing in the sports entertainment in this particular match, as I called last week.
Well, I'll tell you that you've got bigger gonads than I do for calling him a using the word bitch anywhere near Eddie Kingston. Because after I saw that image of a bloodied Eddie Kingston carrying a thing of gasoline down the ring, I'm like, I am going to see this man in my nightmares.
I've seen scarier things in my nightmares. And
yes, because of your aforementioned gigantic gonads, clearly.
But I will say, it is quite a sight to see him just covered in blood, his face covered in blood, and just like, I'm a man on a mission to kill this man. And yeah, I'm the one that's going to cause our team the match. I knew, like, Brian was right about the Adam Cole and Britt Baker winning the tournament just because the power couple. I kind of realized that as soon as they didn't do like a ceremony after Adam Cole won first. So once they was like, oh, they're saving it for the power couple. So obviously Britt Baker's going to win. It's just really disappointing to see Ruby Soho being put in this position, which they even acknowledge is just with her arc being when it comes to winning the big one, she just can't do it. And you would think that it's just kind of thing of, oh, that's just the sign for the babyface to get that big win that she needs. But no, typical. Oh, it's Britt Baker. I love her, but as I said last week, she's just it's reached to the point where it's kind of just a over push as like the Charlotte Flairs
And there it is. I was thinking that exact thing. She's becoming the Charlotte Flair of AEW, for better or
but
for worse.
like it's not really taking anything away from both Charlotte and Britt. They're both very good in the ring.
Oh, yeah, for real.
It's just that overbooking of just basically having the women's division being built around them. I mean, hell, Thunder Rosa is becoming kind of an afterthought, which to the point it's even debating on like her showing her frustrations backstage of the lack of presentation of her being, the women's world champion of AEW. But oh no, it was a very good show. I enjoyed every match. It's Jeff Hardy again pushing himself too hard for pushing. He basically right. He's pushing himself so hard his body can't. His body's just like, slow down, man. I got to catch up with this, and it's starting to really affect him. I guess it's kind of good to have him have this tag team match with the Young Bucks because it's really getting to that point where we're possibly not getting it like a long run for him.
Yeah, and that's a real shame because I was really hoping he would at least be able to last long enough to get a more extended run.
I
Hopefully,
mean,
this is just
having
a
a
momentary thing, and I'll be able to bounce back sooner rather than later.
having a ladder match with Darby Allin didn't really help either. Uh, uh, I guess there's nothing really more I can really say about this pay per view other than it was very good. I've seen better shows, so I'm going to give this one a full beard 4 out of 5.
Yeah, this one's definitely an easy full beard 4 out of 5. No slouch at all. It's not AEW's best, but then again, it's kind of hard to do when AEW is putting the bar this high. Again, there was still plenty to like. We still got the actual in-ring debut of Danhausen, which was very fun to see. Dropping Hurricane Runners all over the place, showing the world that he can legit go. And just great match after great match after great match, culminating in a great world title match as well. So, yeah, I will echo that sentiment. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 full beard. But that is not where the most of the discussion of the wrestling world has been over the past week, has it? Because even up until now, there is the ongoing issue with MJF of first he supposedly missed a meet and greet. Then he wasn't picking up his phone. Now there's a lot of animosity about how he's been treated backstage. All of this culminating in what is called by many as MJF's pipe bomb, where he's doing everything under the sun, saying everything that was supposedly on his mind, everything from hoarding money to hire WWE guys to calling Tony Khan a mark and everything in between. And all week, even after we've been basically since the moment we stopped recording last week's episode, there has been discussion after discussion, speculation after speculation regarding MJF, thinking, is this all true? Is this all a shoot? or is this all a big Pillman-esque work? Because no one was saying anything, and it was just a very wild situation. Now, a lot of the sources I've been seeing are after Wednesday night's promo. From everything I've seen, it seems like most people generally consider this to be a work. At least it's a work now.
Yeah.
Uh, do you agree? What's your take on all this?
Oh, oh, to answer your question, is this a shoot or is this a work? The answer is yes. It pretty much the whole, from what I understand of what I believed uh, up to Wednesday, was everything that happened this weekend was legit. Him not showing up at the meet and greet, and him just was getting a plane ticket to go back home. Him showing him showing up pretty much right as his match with Wardlow started, and he left immediately afterwards. Uh, and then he had his meeting with Tony Khan on Monday, and I think that was at the point where that's when it's all decided to become a work, bring this whole story in front of the cameras. So pretty much Monday on is when this whole situation started to become a work. They most likely worked out a new deal, uh, and it was a it was a work shoot promo. It was a great promo. It was it was his pipe bomb. Uh, like people are even comparing it to CM Punk's pipe bomb back in 2011, which I would say, if I had to choose between which pipe bomb I enjoyed more, I'd probably still go with CM Punk over MJF's. Not taking away MJF's promo, but I just think CM Punk's one hit more for me personally. Um, but yeah,
And I
now it's now
yes,
reached that point where it's now bringing bringing the shoot stuff in as a work, and no better than having dropping f bombs and losing your mind on the AEW Dynamite show that the Warner producers are watching, are in the audience watching the show. Oh,
uh,
what I really love about this is how they're actually really going to making this look real. Like now, not having the commentators not acknowledge it, uh, like after it happened, not talking on the social media aspects, at least not the official ones. Uh, MJF now being taking off the roster page of the AEW website. They're now going to lengths to actually make this now work shoot look as legit as possible, just to get everyone talking. And this could be, if they go in the right one, like once the end point of this now angle gets put in, like once we reach that ending point of this, and it just is another mwah, display of MJF, he's pretty much a shoe-in for my Scully's Wrestler of the Year, because it has just been nonstop great stuff coming out from MJF. The only downside is, and this is the reason why I didn't talk about this on the Double or Nothing discussion, is it kind of takes away Wardlow's victory. And
I've
now
heard that. I'm sorry. Go on.
he's just now in a comedy storyline with Mark Sterling, uh, getting sued by the whatever it is, the national thing of security guards. Apparently, that's a thing. And I'm just thinking, okay, I was kind of hoping Wardlow would go be put into like at least like the TNT picture or something, title picture or something. But okay, it's kind of suck. It sucks that you're kind of now in a position where you're pretty much in one of the best storylines, and now you're in a very very weak storyline.
Yeah, but then again, I'm not so sure that the whole MJF situation has nearly as much to do with that, because I've heard that criticism personally from what we got. I don't really see how much this could have gone. At, at this point, Wardlow just needs to be sort of set free from MJF one way or the other. Like we had to get there, even if what with MJF did not happen. I really am not convinced 100% that this would have changed anything for Wardlow per se.
It changes the view of the match, really. It takes away from Wardlow's view, like his parts of it. Now the focus is now mainly on MJF and his backstage shit going on. Now it's just like, okay, what does this mean? Are they right? Are they Muhammad Hassaning MJF? Are they just writing him off TV? What is this? And then they do the whole MJF speaks on Dynamite. Oh wait, he had something serious to say, like legit to say. I do feel like it really took it took momentum away from the viewing aspects of Wardlow, and now it's just like I'm now more on what's MJF's story coming out of this. That's how I feel about it.
Oh, I can't. I will say I don't share your viewpoint on this whole Wardlow situation, but I can understand why you feel that way. With I guess maybe it was just me that I didn't really see Wardlow just like coming out of the gate immediately into a major program, especially someone like against someone like MJF. I still am hopeful that just because this storyline is still getting started between Mark Sterling and Wardlow, obviously Mark Sterling has no chance of being in the ring with Wardlow, which is why I'm pretty confident that whoever they're going to get to sort of be the muscle for Mark Sterling is going to be someone pretty solid and someone who can go toe to toe with Wardlow. So I'm not really too concerned about that. But when it comes to the whole MJF situation, it seems like so much of this is, I don't want to say cutting edge because there's always been worked shoots in the world of wrestling, and MJF is certainly wise enough to make those moves. But I'm just not. Even though I'm more confident that this is a worked shoot, if you will. I'm just wondering now, like, how far do they go with this? Especially, like we're saying, originally, I was going to say MJF is going to answer back CM Punk and go after the AEW title and finally win it this year. But as of even mere minutes, excuse me, mere minutes before we were set to record this, we got the announcement on Rampage. We record this show on Friday nights that CM Punk is apparently injured. He needs to have surgery. And from what it looks like, he's going to be relinquishing the AEW championship. So, although my original MJF plan goes right out the window, apparently so does the so called Summer Punk 3. Fool, I'm going to pitch over to you. What the heck do we do now?
Tournament, baby.
I mean, that's what I would default to. That could be fun and
right
develop
after
some
the
great matches.
right after the Owen Hart tournament. Let's have another tournament for the AEW new vacant AEW World Championship, or just have a battle royale.
Still a big fan of tournaments. I'm all for that.
I need to look at the power ranking and just see, like, oh, okay, have the top like 4 or 5 people in a fatal 4-way elimination match. Winner is AEW World Champion.
All right, I'm just gonna do it. Scholars quick talk. Whether it's through a tournament or a battle royale or some other means, who would you book as the next AEW World Champion?
Hmm,
Hmm.
that's a good question.
It's a tough question, isn't it?
I honestly would probably go with MJF and use it as pretty much just doing actually, yeah, I heard this ideas pitched through all over the internet of MJF winning the championship and having him like basically continuing this storyline of him wanting to leave, and once his contract expires, like him walking out the company with the championship.
Basically,
And
another mirror of CM Punk again.
yeah, yeah, essentially. Uh, and the whole storyline is now for AEW is this people trying to get the title off him before he leaves. And I think that would be a fun series of matches.
I certainly would go for that if he is sticking around and he's not like on the precipice of leaving. I would certainly he's certainly on the short list of number one contenders I would put. Uh, but then again, elsewhere on that list, for me personally, I believe that it all comes down to timing and whoever, like whenever the belt is going to be up for grabs, is going to determine, like depending on where everyone's at and what storyline everyone's in. I think that's going to depend on what the timing is when that championship match takes place. If they're going to leave some time between now and the time we see MJF again, then MJF may not be the best one to do it right away. If the timing works out, then yeah, absolutely. But there's other people who could go for it. We can have Brian Danielson if they want someone who can, like a big marquee name for now. Like I don't know what they've gotten for the time being, but if they want a known
Blood and
marquee
guts.
name,
That's what he has for the time being.
yeah. And speaking of blood and guts, if they don't want to put on someone like Brian Danielson or John Moxley making him first ever two-time champ, if they're going to have someone from the blood and guts match who can come out of that match looking really good and really strong, I'm going to say it. This might be a little biased, but I'm going to say it anyway. Eddie Kingston.
Mm-mm.
Build him up.
No,
You can. I think it can happen.
I can never see Eddie Kingston as world champion ever. I don't think he'll ever win that belt. He's just nah.
I will
If I,
say he is my dark horse pick. How about that?
my dark horse is Miro.
I feel like they're gonna do some. They've got some other things ready made for Miro at the moment. I don't think
With
they're
it,
going.
with his video package just basically saying he's going to essentially he's saying he's going to just take the gold. And I'm like, at this point, you know what? Do it. Do it, man. Give it to Miro. Have him be the top dog.
I have one other name in mind. Darby. What do you think?
I will say it's a better choice than Kingston.
Okay, I mean, I'm just being an Eddie Kingston fan. I don't know.
Uh, uh, for the people who know me on the show, I'm not an Eddie Kingston fan. I I don't I don't see the appeal in him. Like the
Well,
only thing I'll give him is that he's good on the mic. That's all I can really say about him. I just don't see him as a, if he's going to win a title, it's going to be the tag team titles. I can't see him
hmm,
basically being the face of the company.
fair enough. But then again, I can see Darby doing that.
I could, yeah, like I said, I could see Darby more so, but hmm, I would pick. I think the next big thing would be Danielson, if to not have like a multi-time, like the first ever multi-champion. If we're gonna put someone, why not have it be a big name like Danielson having the or for someone new, to give a nice big push to a nice big push for to put him in the main event, Malachi Black.
As much as I feel like he's on to something, he's on a good roll with everything he's doing with the House of Black, especially now that they got Julia Hart finally. Uh, I feel like again the timing is not right. Either maybe later at the maybe late in the year or at the very least early 2023 is probably if they're going to be putting them in the title picture. I'd say that's maybe the time to do it. I just feel like there's other people in line ahead of him right now.
And then the last person I can think of is too bad Jeremy's not here because I would just pick boom, Adam
Adam,
Cole, baby.
I feel like he's probably going to be one of the first contenders, but I don't think he's going to win it. And I think whoever wins is going to come down to one of the three guys. If they want a good, strong, marquee, known name, I'd say Brian Danielson is one way to go do it. If if you're okay with having a second, the first ever second time world champion, you can go with John Moxley. Or if you want to keep it with the AEW originals, which is kind of my preference, I'd say Darby Allin, you can build him up in a heartbeat. And then when CM Punk comes back, they can have their big rematch to see, okay, is Punk going to beat him again and take his title back? Or is has Darby learned something from both CM Punk and Jeff Hardy, and will he be able to scratch something out? That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh yeah, I could get that.
But definitely not Eddie Kingston.
Never.
A man can dream.
Never.
Hey,
That dream for me, that would be a nightmare. I'm sorry. You know what? Fuck it. I'm not sorry. I I just I can't stand the guy. Like his only attribute is that he's a good talker. But I just don't see him putting on those main event those like closing matches, or that, like I said, the person who's like, this is the face of AEW. Mm-mm.
Well, you
He's
can't win
not.
them all.
He's not even in my top 20.
Hmm.
And I don't even think I have 20.
Oh boy.
Like I don't think I have 20 names, but he's not on that 20. He's not on that top 20.
Hmm. Yeah, if Pentagon wasn't involved in a tag team, I'd vote for him in a second. But
Ooh, Penta's another. I would love to see Penta win it with.
but thankfully, AEW's like, no, we actually take our tag division seriously, and blah 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 blah. What are you gonna do?
Jurassic Express's title reign may say otherwise. Ugh.
And no
And
one's perfect.
I love Jurassic Express. I love it. Every time I hear Tarzan Boy, like whatever the situation, I just oh, always just
So don't we all?
hell. That even showed up on this new season of Stranger Things. They're
I
just
saw that. Yeah.
I was watching it, and all of a sudden Tarzan Boy comes on, and I'm just hearing. I just naturally.
Oh, the '80s. Gotta love them.
Jungle Boy, gotta love him. Luchasaurus, gotta love him.
There's a
Imagine
dinosaurs reference in there somewhere.
Hell, Luchasaurus would be a great AEW World Champion. I'd rather have the face of AEW be a dinosaur over Eddie Kingston.
Well, hey, considering how many casual fans we both know who love Luchasaurus, it's not the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Hell, if pushed right, even Jungle Boy could actually be a contender.
I can see that, but then again, I feel like they'll have to push him harder to get him there,
Oh,
as
he's.
opposed to someone like Darby Allin or Luchasaurus.
Hmm. I think having Sting in your corner would definitely add like adds points to that over Christian.
There's the next big match at Fighter Fest or whatever. Sting versus Luchasaurus. Sting versus a dinosaur. Book it.
Yes, please.
All right. Before we go any further off the rails,
Too late.
it's also a pay-per-view weekend for WWE as well. So let's get right into our predictions for WWE Hell in a Cell 2022. There's only
Why
about
else?
half the matches this time around, so we
Why else
should
am
be
I
just fine
wearing a Cactus Jack
because it's
t-shirt?
stylish and comfortable, as all Cactus
That
Jack shirts
too.
should be.
That too. But I know this is a Hell in a Cell prediction, and who better than to have on my chest about talk about Hell in a Cell than Mick Foley?
Hey, and not for nothing, he is going to be in our neck of the woods next week doing his stand-up routine. So,
He is.
hey, why not? All right. So let's dive right into Hell in a Cell 2022, kicking things off with a match that was just added tonight. We've got Madcap Moss versus Happy Corbin in a no holds barred match. Tarek, you're going to kick things off first. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go with Madcap Moss. He just got it. Now has a new gimmick. The suspenders are gone. Uh, he's now in serious mode. It's pretty much get this momentum started on this new character.
He's super serial, you guys, and he's going to super win at Hell in a Cell. I mean it, guys.
Sure.
Yeah, that's there you go. You can't beat it. That
Can't be. Yeah. Plus, it's against Corbin.
yeah, can't win them all,
He
but he
really
will
is
win
now.
this one.
He's become like pretty much what Dolph Ziggler is, just a jobber to the stars. But I'm not
Hey,
going to say Madcap Moss is a star. But if they're going to start pretty much trying to push young guys, and they really like this guy, so might as well just have him be the kickstart of the push of Madcap Moss.
there's worse ways to be. And that'll bring us to our next match on the card. This is probably one of the ones I'm looking forward to the most. It's a rare intergender trios match. We've got Finn Balor, AJ Styles, and Liv Morgan versus the Judgment Day. And as much as I love the first of those teams and their combination, I got to give this one the Judgment Day. The timing just screams to me they must win as a unit. They cannot lose or be broken in any way just yet. So I'm going to go with Judgment Day. Tarek, what do you think?
As much as I love AJ Styles, I love Finn Balor, and I love Liv Morgan. And these are people that actually need wins. They really do, especially AJ Styles. Apparently, AJ Styles hasn't won a match since, or hasn't won a pay-per-view match since it was when he was still tag teaming with Omos.
Hmm.
I got to look that up again. Look up that stat. Apparently, it was like early last year. I think even possibly WrestleMania
It
last
was
year.
some time ago, I think. Yeah.
It was around that time. He hasn't won a pay-per-view match since that time last year, and that's a terrible stat, especially for someone like AJ Styles, one of the most basic decorated wrestlers in the business. So, but I'm also going to go with Judgment Day. The storyline is about them. The story it's pretty much them getting over, and there's discussions on them possibly adding another member. Uh, some people are even thinking that it's just going to be Finn Balor turning on AJ Styles to join them. Uh, but yeah, no matter what the outcome of is there going to be or isn't there going to be a new member, it's still going to be Judgment Day, unfortunately, because like I said, I love the other three.
Indeed. Next match on the card, we've got defending the U.S. Championship, we've got Theory, your incoming champion, defending against Mustafa Ali. Tarek, it's your pick first. Who you got between Theory and Mustafa Ali?
I'm gonna go with Austin Theory. I just don't see them giving Ali anything until his contract runs out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to agree with you on this one. I'm really rooting for Mustafa Ali. I want him to be able to do more, but given what they're doing with Theory, for better or for worse, it seems like they're running with him no matter what. So unfortunately, it's gonna have to go to Theory. Next match. Speaking of unfortunates, we've got Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens. As much as I want to see Kevin Owens punch him so hard, brings his beard back and he admits that he's Elias. It's just not going to happen, even though I wish it would. And Ezekiel wins. That's my pick. Tarek, who do you got for this one?
I want to pick Kevin Owens. I really do. He's the one that's actually been making this feud interesting, just because he has so much charisma, so much. He's so great on the mic, and I'm still hoping for them one day to bring in Aaron Stevens to be the new Elias. It's just like, see, this has been Elias the whole time. I'm still Ezekiel. But yeah, I'm like, it's the fact that it's Kevin Owens that's making this storyline interesting. Ezekiel is not interesting, but he's still going to be the one that gets the win because he's the goody two shoes babyface, and yeah,
I wish it weren't
Elias,
so.
Elias, Ezekiel, he's just not going to get as over as much you want him to, because I know how you and Season are such big Elias fans.
It's just I just wish it just wasn't so insulting my intelligence at this point. So let's upgrade to something a little bit better.
But
Next
actually,
up,
before we
yes.
do, I kind of have because to continue this, I kind of have a quick scholar's quick talk for you. Do you think they're gonna pull uh, Mr. America Hulk Hogan thing where he actually is going to reveal himself to be Elias in the near future?
I really hope so. I think there's an outside chance, but I just don't think it's a very likely one in the slightest. So if I had to pick one answer, I'm gonna say no.
Okay. All right. Now let's
Sadly.
move on. Now let's move on.
Next match, Bobby Lashley versus Omos and MVP in a handicap match. Tarek, your pick next. Who you got?
MVP is going to be the one who takes the pin. Bobby Lashley is going to dominate this. This feud is very boring. I don't care about Bobby Lashley right now because everything that was cool about Bobby Lashley, I don't know if it was 2 years ago, with the Hurt Business, is now officially gone. Bobby Lashley is just now back to being, well, he's not Sisters level bad character wise, but he was as he was like being ECW champion. He just has now the title of Almighty in front of him, and almost is almost
Omos is a bastard.
almost is just, he's tall. That's all he has.
He's a tall ass man. I'll tell you what.
Nothing against him, but I'm sorry. He is reaching great cheese level in ring work.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of this one either. Bobby Lashley, I just hope he wins just so he ends this whole stupid thing. But in matches that I am actually excited to see that could be interesting, very much so, we've got a triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship. Bianca Belair versus Asuka versus Becky Lynch. For this one, I'm gonna play it safe once again. I'm gonna say Bianca Belair takes this one. What do you think?
This is another one. I think we're just going to be agreeing on this on this particular card. I'm also going to go with Bianca
No.
Belair.
Okay, maybe
Oh,
we will.
it's as much as I was going to say for Brian last week. This is a very predictable show. It's for this one. This one, I will say, it kind of was a tough one for me because it was a toss up between Bianca Belair and Asuka as my ones to win this. But I don't know. Asuka has been booked so badly in this feud. I mean, she's been pinned by Bianca this week, got pinned by Becky last week. It would be very interesting just to see her just find a way to win. But I'm also just going to be safe. I mean, they're probably going to save whatever big title match for Bianca Belair for SummerSlam. They're not going to have her lose the title at Hell in a Cell. Mm-mm.
And speaking of Hell in a Cell, we have our one and only Hell in a Cell match on the card, presumably closing out the show. We've got, for the third time, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. Tarek, it's your final pick of the evening. Who you got?
I will say, for this being their third match together, at least they're actually trying to put a story in this. The promo that Seth Rollins did this past week on Raw made this match interesting for me and a lot of people that are in the internet wrestling community, from people like Cultaholic, Wrestle Talk, that they say the same thing, that the promo that Seth Rollins did referencing AEW's, saying you don't smash the throne just to come back and try and take it from me. It was good stuff. Uh, but actually, before I make the prediction, you even said that this is the only Hell in a Cell match on the card. I actually kind of like that. That not just every match is a Hell in a Cell, or there are multiple Hell in a Cell matches. I actually like that there's only one Hell in a Cell match, kind of
I'm good
adding
with that
the,
too.
because it doesn't lose it doesn't take away the, what's the word, mystique of the Hell in a Cell.
I can see that. That's fair.
So I do agree. Since this is the biggest match on the card. This is definitely going to be the one that's closing the show. Uh, I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes to win,
Yeah.
to just solidify once again. Even though this feud's already done, it was done two matches. It's like 2 wins in a row. Third time will be the charm.
I do agree. This has been a really good series of matches. That closing promo, I agree, was the high point of an otherwise sort of mediocre SmackDown.
Mediocre.
Yes, mediocre. But again, if they're really rolling with Cody for the time being and they're going to definitely give him a title run and a main event push, I see no other way this can end than Cody Rhodes winning the Hell in a Cell match and the feud. So yeah, Cody all around. We do have an accord. But then again, that is our predictions for Hell in a Cell 2022. Now is that time where we pitch it over to you, the rest of the wrestling world fandom. Let us know what you think. Who's going to win at Hell in a Cell? What's going on in MJF? When is CM Punk going to come back? Who is going to be the next AEW World Champion? All these questions and more, drop us a line all across the internet. If you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, hey, drop us a comment. Join in the conversation. If you're joining us on our podcast version, whether it's on Spotify or Anchor or wherever you get your podcasts, hey, drop us a line anywhere you can find. If there's a comment section, drop us a line there. Leave us some comments. even if it's just insulting my hair or something. We want to hear from you all across the internet, and especially on our Twitter machines and all of our socials. You can check us all out for all the relevant links for everything we've got going on at our link tree in the description. That's linktree/scholars of wrestling for all the latest from all of us. And if you want to get to know us personally, join in the Twitter machines. Tarek, where can they reach you?
You can reach me hoping that next week I will have a better, my laptop will be working fine, my microphone will be better, so you don't have to hear this crappy quality that's coming from me this week at the Avataric.
And hopefully you're gonna see me having resolved all of our tech issues at I'm Robbie Rage. Join the conversation wherever you are. Thanks for checking in. And you know how grateful we are because you know who we are already. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
See you all next time for more shenanigans.
Hell in a Cell.